Ladies and gentlemen, Hard Nosed Derby Podcast. Shot Sunday?
Yeah, fuck it.
Hold on, let me do this real quick. I'll start out with Shotgun Sunday. How about that?
No, this old boy started at 10 this morning.
Get used for a big hole.
Thursday.
Do it. That's gone.
All right, what kind of podcast is this?
I think it's one about derbying, but I think right now we're going to do it about drinking.
Yeah, fuck it.
Hey,
It's the Lord's Day.
It's a day of repent.
The Lord giveth Crown Apple
And we'll let you rest
and White Monster.
at the end.
Well, we've got some dudes here.
Billy Boy.
what up?
Old Bud's podcast in the house with us.
Too, by the way.
I just thought that motherfucker didn't want to talk no more.
No, hey, look, I can't.
He can't shut the fuck up.
Pass up the opportunity, bud.
They have they started some TikTok drinks. One thing that I have been seeing here lately is from them, a little bit of mixture. So when they actually came in this morning, they were like, hey man, let's try this Crown Apple and this White Monster. And what's this shit supposed to taste like?
It's supposed to taste like the caramel apple.
Sucker?
Yeah, the sucker.
Oh, my kids would love that.
Oh, let's mix them up one. Let's mix them up one.
Call that night time.
Morris would take it all the way down.
Yeah.
Right.
But, dude.
We'll see how good this is, boys.
I don't know. We supposedly got it, but
Are you supposed to wing it?
yep, put a shot in each one.
What do you call a shot?
Fresh bottle of Crown Apple.
Wait, Steven, what do you call a shot?
She
bud?
bought
There's-
hold on, she bought shot glasses. So let's do that shit the right way.
Sake time.
Here, use your knife, dude. You scaring the shit out of me with that thing down there. Tried to throw it at me through.
Isn't that how everybody fucking opens shit?
We're literally filming two things at once: a podcast and a TikTok. So everybody on TikTok, have you started yet? Well, so we're up here at the we're literally up here at the compound with
Miller compound.
Plantation.
the plantation of the building. We're doing a Crown Royal
Plantation.
with
The Bay Miller
the
Plantation.
White Monster Zero Sugar, and it's supposed to taste like caramel apple suckers. Supposedly.
We've got some people that are like more on the serious side that listen to our shit. They're gonna be like, "What in the fiddle fuck are they doing?"
Right. This will be on Nerds. It'll be aired Thursday, folks. Check it out.
So that's a shot apiece in a cup. Freshly opened Crown Apple.
Is it any good though?
As he takes a drink.
Okay, it's definitely Crown Apple.
Yeah, I would strongly suggest you book verification.
Yeah. Well, I don't want
Let's
anybody
go
getting
to that
poisoned.
line right there. We'll
No,
go
that
to
shit's legit.
that line
That's
right
legit.
How
there.
legit is it?
You might want to
That
get you a
line
tow
right
letter, bud,
there.
just to
Have you
verify.
ever seen any of Gary
All the
Robertson's
fact
cars?
checkers, bud.
Yeah, it's pretty legit.
That's Gary Robertson car legit.
Uh
Where are we
oh.
going with
We
that?
need another one. Hurry up.
We're on a TikTok here.
Oh, we were talking
Excuse
about how
us.
legit that was, and Gary Robertson's car said fucking legit on it.
It did say legit.
My motherfucker was
So-
legitimately hard.
You know, while we're doing this, we'll go ahead and talk a little bit about that. Looked like him and Chop had some good luck.
Brought home some little 1-2 action over in Griggsville,
Yeah.
Bird City Bull Ring. So
Well,
we're
let's try
gonna,
this shit.
so
Here it is.
Old buds.
We'll rate this
Gracias.
1 out of 10. Old buds.
1 out of
Hard
10.
nose.
Here we go.
I don't like fucking Monster.
It
You
looks
know-
like we've got a -10 and a 10 right here between these two.
What's yours?
Well, here,
I give
let me
it a
start this
3.
off first. When you're a pussy, you make that face, okay? I catch enough shit around here, I can give a little bit.
So he's giving a 3.
And
What's your
he
thoughts?
would know this
I'd
because
say
he
it's
is
a
a
7.
pussy.
It's like that sucker, though.
Oh,
There's a 7. George.
I give her an 8, but I'll
8?
thank her again.
5.
5. I'll give
5.
it an 8.
5.
So,
They don't have a dog anymore
we'll
that I can
realistically
lick
say
asshole
probably a
to get that taste out of my mouth.
7.5, 8 out of 10. But, thanks. Catch us on the next one.
Oh, shoot fire. Fuck the Matthew.
Okay, so there was that. All right.
Steven's still catching his breath.
Back to the regular schedule program.
So do you not like the The White Monster, or do you not like the Crown Apple?
No, I like Crown Apple.
Well, I think it was the messing of the sweetness. See the zero sugar right there at the top of the fucking can?
Yeah, I want full-fledged.
Now, hold on.
Boom. Right there. That's just like, dude, if somebody makes you a mixed
So
drink.
just take a drink of that. That's a straight up White Monster.
If somebody makes you a mixed drink, I want 3/4 fucking Crown. And give me a splash or something at the top of
Well,
it.
and we're going to take a
I mean,
little
we're doing
break
it.
from our normal derby stuff. Daniel, that we've got with us today, because he's not a driver, he's a builder.
Dude, that's what it is.
So he's been in the shop a fuckload, working on cars and stuff. But him and I have drank a lot of whiskey.
Lots.
And we usually start out about that, 2/3, third mix. And then as the night rolls on,
It's like
It's-
15, 16.
yeah, you're glock, and then just,
You got to handle a gallon, and you bought a 12-pack of soda.
That's
and
too
there's
much
still
soda.
8
yeah.
Soda's left, yes.
after the
Yeah,
whole fucking
yeah.
handle's gone.
Like, we used to start buying 2 liters, and we were like, fuck that. You're wasting too much soda.
We use the shot glass just to measure our soda. The rest is
No, seriously, that's why I can't do that. It equals jail, a lot of different things.
But anyway, let's jump
Well,
into
you've been
this shit.
slacking a little bit on the drinking part, except for the old E800,
OE, baby.
which that's way the fuck out. So you started with the Busch Light corn beer, chug, and then the Crown Apple and the White Monster.
And
Catch
you got
up.
White Doug.
And we got White Doug,
I mean,
and we got White Daniel.
Wild style.
I saw White Daniel last Saturday was, I don't know if he was so much in the whiskey or the beer.
Lots of beers.
lots of beers.
Lots of beers. Okay.
Well, in his defense, we had been up for probably 19 hours before we went to the Derby working on a car.
I heard about that.
I,
So much for that last minute.
oh, yeah, 100%. Well, I called him, and I was like, I've got maybe 2 hours worth of shit to do to my car.
19 hours later, baby.
Until you get there and you're like, oh, fuck,
Well, we could do this.
I got way more than what I thought we needed to
But
do.
we were talking to Bill and George on their podcast about George's build shit.
Yeah.
Whenever he's in there and he's doing something, and Bill's like, you can't fucking do that. Well, Daniel, he likes to weld. He does. He enjoys it. He's good at it. That's what the fuck he does. So when I fucking hate welding. I'm blind. I will smoke a fucking helmet. I mean, welding up a car, I'll have to buy a new helmet because I've got to be so close to a weld because I can weld, but I'm blind. So I call him and I'm like, hey, I need you to do some fucking welding. And that's about all I ever ask him to do. He doesn't have to come over and fucking bolt rear ends up and do bullshit like that. It's just, I'm going to put this here, you fucking weld it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we're in the shop and we're talking plate placement. And I'm not going to go real deep into where I put these plates, but we're standing there and Daniel does the same shit that George does. He's like, well, what if we do this? I'm like, you can't do that. He's like, but if we connect this and I'm like, yeah, that would fucking work.
That'd work.
That would be great. But it says right here that
Yeah.
go eat a dick.
My dream crusher shows up, dude, and it's over.
Because Daniel started all that stuff off with,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know much about the sport, but if you could do this and this, I'm like, yeah, that would be fucking phenomenal. But they're going to tell us to do this and put it back on the trailer.
Right.
Yeah.
That's something that's a little bit past frowned upon.
So you,
Oh,
you
yeah.
can tarp that thing at home. Yeah.
And that's why I've always said, guys who would come to our shows last year, the last couple of years, and they're like, well, is it how I interpret the rules? And I'll tell them, dudes, if you can't fix it there, don't do it. It's just it's that fucking simple. If you can't fix it,
Don't bring it.
yeah, save it for another day. Do whatever
But-
you got to do.
The reason why we got Daniel on here is we wanted to kind of get that perspective on the sport from somebody that works on cars but doesn't run cars.
Yeah.
Which I am going to talk him into getting in a fucking car. I've got one set out back that's a pre-run, and
I just haven't ever built one yet. I've helped Steven build I don't know how many, and then a couple other people have built
well,
some.
Trey and Cody and
Yeah. Whenever Trey and them started Trey Hammond and Cody Irwin and them, they started derbying again after Rick kind of got out of the game for a while, and then Trey got into it. As they were wanting to get into it, and they're like, well, we don't really know much about welding, so I just went out there, and I remember spending like 3 months just welding everything together. It's just, I'm a helper. I'm like, if you want some help, I'll help you as much as I can, but you're gonna have to want to help it.
See, that's what George needs.
No,
Yeah.
Like, dude, 100%.
George is like, hold on, here's my address.
Dude, I get more done when Bill is down in my shop, just having somebody to conversate with versus being by myself. Because, dude, I get to sit in back and I'll study. Dude, I've ran enough cars that, like, dude, I know where the motherfucker's gonna bend.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Get closer to the mic.
I know where the motherfucker is gonna bend.
Well,
Okay.
here's the thing, boys.
And
I
it's
mean,
like-
if you look at it this way, what's better, 2 eyes or 4? Maybe
Oh,
6.
4
Well,
without
the
a
biggest
doubt.
thing is like being able to bounce ideas off of. You're like,
That's
well,
it.
Hey,
Right
bounce
what,
off each
what about
other.
this? And
Right
you're like,
there.
well, what if we tweak
Right there.
this a little bit?
Right.
That'll work. That'll work.
But most of the time, I'm walking in going, that is not going to work. That is not legal. They are going to.
No.
We ain't got enough oxygen.
Just walk in like, just cut it.
Never-
Cut it.
Man, I'm gonna shut her down right there. That's it.
Which, with Daniel being there and not knowing the ins and outs of the sport, but he's always in the fucking shop, whether it be at his house, working on.
Right.
He's got an Apache he's redoing and putting a motor and stuff in. He's changed the front suspension and shit under it. He's bagged it out. I mean, like, he is a fabricator.
Correct.
Those are the type of people you need
Oh, yeah.
in the fucking shop.
A vision
Well,
before
he
it's ever
looks-
even done.
He looks at shit.
Like you
different.
can see two pieces. Like, how do we make this together?
Dude, you see the whole picture though of what you want to transform this thing into.
Whereas a derby driver, they're focused on, this is where this motherfucker bent last time. How do we fix that? He's looking at the whole motherfucker.
The
How do
whole
we
aspect.
how do we make none of it?
Yep.
Move.
Not just a section.
Right.
And we can go back to this. So if you're in the middle of a build process and you know where your plates want to be and you want to do this and you want to do that, but there's that token where Daniel, not real sure what all that shit's gonna do. He can be that person, like you just said. Hey, let's try this part. So it's not really going into gray area so much as
A new perspective.
correct.
Well, and it's so nice having him out there, like you were talking about that. Well, like, I knew where I wanted these plates at after we got to sitting and talking and stuff. I showed him where I wanted the plates, and I went and did something else. Because I knew that whenever I come back, they would be welded on the car the where I wanted them.
So a fabricator, a guy like that. So you mentioned these plates right here, and you're like, okay, this is what I'm looking. But what he's thinking is, okay, what it's going to do here, if to make that bend here, he's looking behind the plates. He's looking
100%.
He's looking at the outside picture,
The whole
instead of
picture.
that
Yeah,
one.
and I'm just
the
like,
whole
fuck
picture,
that.
dude.
These need to be thrown here because I know it's going to bend there. And he's like, well, what if
I know.
what are you
Yeah,
gonna
he's
do?
way up here going, well, this is what's going to make that happen.
Well, it's going to split there if we've not got this.
Yep, 100%.
No, I know, totally. Trust me, I sit for hours in my shop, and I'm like, this is what the fuck I need to do. And I'll talk to Bill on the phone. He's like, man, I dig it. And then he shows up, and he's like, are you fucking serious?
I'm like, God dang.
No, I mean, that's like, seriously, look at the rules.
Well,
and he's
and
like,
I will tell
No,
this story because it's just down tubes. But I went back to the back of my car and I told Daniel, I was like, I want to put 2 more down tubes in this. I wasn't allowed them at whiskey, but my cage moved and shit. I said
that
"This is where-"
edge, dude.
I was like, this is where I want
A
to
little
put
bit.
them. And we got to looking and where I wanted to put them. He's like, hey, can I manipulate sheet metal? I was like, yeah, it doesn't fucking matter. I was like, it's a pre-run car.
Correct.
And he's like, so I can drive this motherfucker down. I was like, yeah. I was like, 100%. So he's like, if I go under your back seat bar, it doesn't have to be out at the edge. I was like, no. He moved the down tube in, and it was pushing up on my fucking cage instead of me just welding it to the side of it like I was going to.
Having down pressure for
You're
belly.
fucking ain't right.
You know
And
what I
see,
mean?
that
That's
was
that
something
picture.
that I was like, I didn't give a fuck. And he's like, I think if I...
Force against
I'm like, if I can get it to go down underneath there, and then I'm like, I can get it on all 4 sides now, and it ain't gonna do nothing.
Oh, bud. That little bit goes a long way.
100%. It's the outside perspective of not being in the sport. I'm serious. That
Oh man,
it's insane. Because there was shit that he was asking about that I hadn't even.
You don't. It doesn't even
didn't even
ring a
think
bell.
of really.
Fuck no.
Yeah.
Until you seen it from the outside perspective,
Yeah.
and then you're like,
Well,
why the
because
fuck didn't I think of that?
Nobody cuts on a frame. Nobody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And he's like,
Yeah,
well, what
exactly.
if we cut that fucking lip off and fold this over that? I'm like,
Oh.
oh.
Dude, if it's not cherry, it's not sitting in my yard, bud.
No, this wasn't. I'm talking like this was part of a good frame.
No, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, I ain't running junk.
Right. Yeah, and he was like, yeah, if we do
Even
this
though
and
it is
this, and
junk.
I got to fucking looking at it. And I'm like, yeah, do
It made
that.
sense after he broke it down. Oh, and now I see why you wanted to build it like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you spend X amount of time building or whatever, like you do get that tunnel vision. And when we go look at a car, and like I said last week, I'm not that type of dude who's just going to go crawling up under your trailer and shit. I'm not doing that. So
It's a respect factor.
Correct.
Right.
You start looking from the outside in, and you start looking from the boxes forward, and see what people have done, and that's what you get tunneled into.
Yeah.
You're like, hold on, why did he do that?
You know what's crazy is like whiskey. Dude, you go out to Whiskey City, all right, and you look at East Coast builds versus Northern builds versus Midwest builds versus fucking Southern builds versus West Coast builds. Dude, you have so many different aspects
Oh, yeah.
of
And
the
they will
same
fucking fight
set
you
of rules.
And they will fight you to the fucking death over why their way
No,
is better
ain't no
than yours.
shit.
Yes.
But at the same time, you give one set of guidelines or rules, and yes, there is a gray area here and there, but
It's
at the
all
same
interpretation.
Right.
Exactly. Like their interpretation up north is completely different than ours in the Midwest.
That's
you
where-
go out
Right.
east.
That's why I got Daniel
Holy
on here.
shit.
That is that outside perspective. Because he doesn't know West Coast builds, he doesn't know East Coast builds.
Right.
He's just looking at this car that you're like, I want to make this motherfucker as strong as possible, with the end goal of either
meeting
junking-
the rule set,
Yeah,
but at the same time, you ain't cutting your shit to pieces.
right.
But the interpretation, just like you said, of the rule set of the same fucking guidelines that you give 30 different states that show up to the same show.
Yeah, you may go back east and go, well, we're way past that. Or,
Oh no,
we're
dude!
down.
It's insane. Like I rolled up
Oh,
to
we're doing that
I
2
rolled up
years
to
ago, we're doing it
Peoria.
this way now. Okay, well, why are you doing it this way? Did it?
Right,
Yeah.
But there's that token, which we have hit on before. That dude isn't going to tell you why.
Right.
Fuck
Oh,
no.
right.
We know that shit.
No.
No, because I've had people that after our podcast dropped last week, and I was talking about the Mopar deal, and I found this Holy Grail plate, whatever you want to call it, that
Yeah,
held the
no,
front
you-
end of the goddamn Mopar.
Dude, that thing, it had a bone.
I mean, it fucking worked.
stiff.
Yeah.
Oh,
I had 4 different Mopar guys message me.
So, hey, where the
Don't
fuck
tell
you
me
put that?
what you did. Tell me where you did
Did
it.
you say, my guy Daniel did it?
Or did they
I know
ask
a
you?
And then here's the deal. There's this right here is where you tell them plain and simple, Steven, figured out. The same thing that everybody told you this entire time. You know why? Because it's your baby.
All right. Well, and
If you got it figured out, bud,
and
Well,
that's
you
what
found it. Now it's
That's it.
That's
And
They're
that's
gonna be coming to you.
That's
Your
what I
baby.
told them. I said,
figured out. You know how many times I've been told that?
just
Figure
go.
it out.
I said, you need to go look at your
You're
car.
this close.
And they were like, we do look at our cars. And I'm like, you need to really look at your car because that's what it took for us.
Oh,
I
bud.
said, because we had 4 plates on that motherfucker before I put the last one on it. And we were like, where in the fuck are we going to put these? Because I've run these cars before. I know where they bend. We had already put the plates where they bend. And I'm like, there's got to be another.
Solution
Yeah.
to why they're bending still.
Yes, because I had done it to the 3 Mopars previous. Put my plates in the same spot, and I don't know about anybody here, but that's the definition of insanity.
Yeah.
You keep doing the same fucking thing, expecting a different outcome.
Correct.
Hold the plate
And
on
get the
the side
same
of the
outcome at the
Yeah.
end result.
100%.
Or that fucker
yeah.
bending where you aren't thinking it's going to bend.
Well, and that's what I told everybody. I watched all 3 of them other cars make the first hit. I could see the firewall open. Make the second hit. It come open farther. You're fucked. At that point, you're already completely fucked. I made my first 2 hits at Madison, and the fucking
Nothing weird.
well, that bullshit undercoating that they put on those seams still looks factory. I mean, it didn't split it, it didn't pull it apart, it didn't do anything. It was sitting right the fuck where it was at.
I remember you told me that night, you was like, I made the first hit and I looked at the floor. Hold on, that didn't, what the fuck? So here, I'll make a second hit. And he said, I looked back down, I was like, hold on, this something's still good.
I was like, we're doing it now.
It's a good feeling, eh?
Yeah.
You know, it's like I always tell George. If I say you can have 6 plates, that means 12. You figure it out. It's been past filthy several times.
Okay, no, and here's the deal. I get shut down in my shop by my old bud. You know? No, I like where your thinking's at, bud, but we're not running pro mod.
And I mean, you know, we've seen it with other people that are running Cadillacs, 03s, and all that shit. You'll see somebody show up to these derbies, and you're like, "Whoa, what the fuck is that?" I ain't never seen nobody do no shit like that.
Yep.
Oh no, for sure.
It's that difference. It's that, you know, whether it's Bryce Leno bringing,
You know,
a wagon into
everything's cut off of.
Correct.
Dude,
What
Peoria was a straight fucking. It was an experiment all the way around. I totally changed the whole plate schematic of my car and what I know works. I was trying something different all the way around. Bill even said something to me. He's like, "Man, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Dude,
Something different.
How do you know what's gonna work?"
But then now after you run that, you're probably like, okay, well, maybe moving that plate back a foot to this spot is a little better spot than this one, or
You know the kicker, like the kicker, the whole deal.
You can't run kickers.
No, here, let me clarify. Not 2x2, but no, the kicker to the scenario. Okay, the whole thing was experimental, and everything worked except for one spot. I mean, the fenders kinked where they were supposed to, the frame kinked where they were supposed to for a 4-plate show. Like, everything worked all the way except for one spot, and I should have done that a little bit different.
now looking back at it, you're like, okay, I see why those worked and this one didn't.
Well, I mean, you're running against some of the hardest shit,
Right.
you know what I mean, in the world.
Well, I mean, it's all
So-
a learning experience every time you.
Oh,
Well,
for sure.
yeah.
Trial and error, boys. Trial
I'm
and error.
fucking known for it too. I try something different whenever I go to a big show, and I'm like, "You fucking idiot! Do it at home."
It's a hard.
No.
This is the shittiest
No.
time to try that.
But in that same token, you know you're running that big show.
How
so
are
you're
you
like,
going to test
if
a
it
theory?
works.
correct.
Right.
Now
If it works.
I got to figure out.
How are you going to test a theory other than to go to one of the best of the best?
Well, you find
then you figure that out?
You find the most cheated local show, and you go run the motherfucker to the rules.
I know
What are you talking about?
You know,
You
Cheated?
find out where they're letting bullshit in, and you go run your fucking to the rules car, and if it holds up there, you're good to go.
so here's
And
what
that's why
here's
I'm
what I'm
like-
gonna say. If you have, we all know. This is no secret. This is nothing sugar coated. 99.5% of the time, you're gonna do something to take somebody's attention off something else.
It's like hands.
100%.
Look over here,
Do what now?
and you're sticking
Correct.
your finger in their butt over here.
Well, what he's saying is, you'll put a weld or a little plate here. We'll say by the box, but your attention is really on the bucket because you've done the work at the bucket.
No,
But
that's-
he's trying to take something off what he's talking
That's
about.
why I do bolts, bud. 'Cause they're easier to take out. There ain't much to fix.
This is why, Judge, we're talking about.
But I mean, I've seen people blatantly put a fucking plate on. They knew they were going to have.
Oh,
to
yeah,
cut
no.
off.
That's why they do it.
100%.
Because
Yeah.
the first thing that you notice whenever you get them up on the lift, like, fuck, you can't do that.
But what they're trying to get you away from is 5 foot behind you where the real damage is going to be done.
Hey guys, what the fuck is that?
What is what?
While somebody's looking under your car. What the fuck is that?
God, dude, I'm like sitting here wondering, like, what do you mean?
We're looking at his house going,
Butterfly in here? What?
Dude, I'm waiting for it. I'm like, is there something coming out of the ceiling? Or?
TikTok with 3 beers.
Holy smokes.
Fuck around.
Yeah, no shit.
We can edit that out.
Oh no, that bitch is going straight up in there.
I'll tell you, that Crown and non-fucking sugar-coated Monster, I mean, that shit is mean. Don't fuck around,
But
folks.
I mean, we've all seen it. You know, whether it be a cross member bracket that's way too fucking long, or
some bowing going on. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
So you've got to, in my opinion, you've got to kind of pick your poison. Do you want to push, or do you want to be really compliant and just kind of kick back and listen? You know what, this fucker's gonna pass. I don't really. It's 105 degrees outside.
that was my thoughts exactly.
I
Madison.
don't
I was like,
get
it's gonna be a hot bitch. I don't want to be laying under this motherfucker with a torch.
I give two
don't know.
fucks about starting a 1200 degree
Well,
torch. I
because
don't.
like on the flip side of the Daniel liking to weld thing, I was doing all the torch shit, and I was like, I don't want to have to do this tomorrow.
Yes.
In the sun. Right.
Yeah, you want to do it in an air conditioned shop.
Dude, when I spend a fucking month building a car by myself in my so-called free time, the last thing I want to do is show up to the track.
And change shit.
Well, I mean, the last thing I want to do is spend 3 hours torching or fucking grinding. Or, you know what? I show up to have fun, but I want to be competitive at the same time. And I come to fucking derby.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You didn't come here to run a fucking cutting torch or a plasma cutter or a
Correct.
grinder. That
And
shit sucks.
I get it. You're going to find something that you want me to nip or, you know, change.
Right.
Like, I get that. But I'm not going to fucking alter that motherfucker to where, you know, I'm sitting there fucking grinding for 3 hours, and then I got a buddy running a torch, and then, you know, and I don't have a bunch of buddies to show up to help nip that in the
Right.
ass, per se. So, I mean, it's
kind of
fucking
a
me.
Daniel deal.
You know,
how many
like-
inspectors look over and go, well, they ain't even seen where we've pressured this in,
Right.
where we've done that. They're over here worried about this plate down here on a cross member that we've attached that gets her eye.
Right.
Yeah.
Motherfucker, you ain't even seeing. Excuse my language. I know we're on the deal, but
That's what I was getting at.
you're not catching the
What's
physics
really
and the geometry,
happened.
what's going on behind
Right. Yes.
why we did this.
You haven't seen where I shoved, 6 foot of plate back in
No,
the
we only
fucking-
do that at filthy shows. I'm joking.
You know, so when somebody loses a bumper,
What?
Yeah,
Like,
when
holy
you
fuck.
see fucking tuba tubes
Yeah.
sticking out of the frame.
correct.
Yeah, how
Well,
do
they-
you
they
lose a
take
bumper
another
in the
hit.
front?
Yeah.
Right.
And a fucking piece of square tubing slides out of the frame rail foot.
Oh, bud.
Hey, hear me out. When was the last time you seen now today's modern derby? When was the last time you seen an actual front bumper fall off? I mean, like in a big car
Dalen
show.
Brown, he's gonna kill me for that. He's gonna fucking.
He
kill
didn't
me.
have a bumper fall off. He had a complete
ripped the
fucking
whole
core
fucking frame
support
rail.
and frame rail.
Okay,
ripped
why
off.
do you, so why do you think that got ripped off? Because the geometries finally it broke loose
Right.
what he had done, and it
Oh, no,
after it
yeah.
reaches to him. When it does give way, it's going to do some funky, effed up
Well,
BS.
And I had some buddies that were giving me shit because I had an A-arm strap break.
Mhm.
And they were like, fuck, you can't fucking weld. And I was like, come here.
There's a reason,
I was like,
It
"All right,
broke
look
the
at it."
strap. It didn't
I
break the
was like,
fucking
it didn't
weld.
break the fucking weld.
right?
Right.
I was like, it broke it ripped
Ripped
the
it.
fucking steel.
Ripped it.
Yeah. They were like, oh. And
Wow.
in the same way, everybody was giving Dalen shit. He's like, it didn't break my fucking weld. He's like, it ripped the whole front of the frame off.
Because I promise you, he's probably been welding. If I'm gonna guess, Dalen's probably been welding since he was like 8.
Well,
Yeah.
when did Alan start pounding that in them boys' head? Like knee high to the grasshopper?
You know,
I mean,
so I'm sure he was running a fucking Lincoln or a Miller
98 to 2, I think is what he had.
when he was 8. So
I'm just kidding.
when you see somebody have something break, instantly everybody goes, "Well, who welded it on? Who welded it on?" Bitch,
Oh, yeah.
I promise you, he can weld your dick to a snowman.
You know why
Like-
it was like that and it broke right there? Because what had physically been done to the car
Oh yeah,
they had beat it and broke it down.
Right. Well, and half the time on that stuff
Yeah.
is that you've made it so stiff here that it doesn't have a choice, but the pressure behind it's
It's
going to
got
start ripping.
to
Oh, yeah.
get
Oh, dude, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, as soon as you
somewhere.
start moving, that shit's not meant to move.
Right.
It's meant to stay in place.
and we talked about it. That could have been that Monday or that Friday build at that factory from Ford.
Oh, but
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
that the dude came in on Monday. He's like, you know what? I feel like
dude,
a
I've had
bag
some
of fucking
frame
shit.
seams rip on some cars.
Oh yes.
50,000 miles. I'm talking
you thought
so
they were
fucking
clean.
cherry.
You know, and you're like
Riding on the
flat,
frame
you know?
still.
We've talked
Like-
about frame thickness.
Mm-hmm.
Not all steel is created equal.
No.
Dude,
Swapping seams.
I
ain't
was
normal.
sorting
Thick
through
frame
video.
lives matter.
So swapping seams ain't normal.
Dude, I was shooting video, or I was sifting through video on Facebook from whenever I first came up here and ran my Hot Springs car. Dude, I had 2 Z-Box mounts that if you broke them, they didn't allow you to drill them and replace them down there. But you got to replace 4 body mounts. Dude, I had 2 pieces of all-thread with fucking 9-wire twisted.
I remember.
Okay?
We were there
Like-
for the night wire.
Dude, Tommy told me before I left Eldon, he's like, dude, you're going to get your ass handed to you. And I ended up wheeling that bitch to 3rd place that night
Right.
at Madison. Showed up by myself. Just so happened to be Matt and
Right.
a couple other guys showed up. And
I bought
dude,
a car that night.
in the video, dude, Steven Adams is over there. He's like, dude, they even got bumpers on the front of these cars? Like,
Yeah, you're in the video, actually.
and then he's like, you know what? I'd back up and do it again. I'll be damned if I don't go to the other end of the track. Do it again.
Yeah, no, I mean...
Oh, it was fucking funny, and I love listening to that. Like,
I bought Matt's car that night.
You did.
Matt Porter's.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
yeah.
Mopar. I ended up running at Blizzard Bash.
dude,
Oh, you did? I did.
Oh, it was
you painted
fun.
it and moved on, yeah.
I mean, it was fun, but I mean, dude, that just goes to show, like,
You
not
suck,
every
man.
car's the same.
You saw...
Well, no, I mean, I know that. It is what it is, dude. I've got seconds, thirds, mad dogs, but I ain't
He's
got
there.
a W.
He's getting closer.
I don't have any of that shit, so I don't know I'm talking shit.
But I mean, I'm just saying, like,
I bought a lot of trophies.
I mean, that fucking car was just unreal as far as how hard it was for what it was, and I don't even know how to explain it.
Adam
6 plates
Lemonizer.
on it.
Everybody has seen that video
Oh, God.
of Adam at Champaign, Illinois,
Mm-hmm.
where he bends the car in half. That was a mod wire. It wasn't a full tilt mod car.
Is that
And
kind of percussion yet?
He had 11 runs out of that car. And he sold it, and it ran 2 more years.
Yeah.
He said it wasn't capped. He said it wasn't this. He said the pressure was correct. I understand. He said the frame rails look like Twizzlers. He said they just S all the way down it.
That's when you know the physics of a guy like that has it right.
And he said it was a unicorn. He said it was one of those that was absolutely perfect, and he's never been able to find another one. Never. He said, but it was just, that car was just special. He said everything was perfect. It was one of the perfect cars off the assembly line.
Did you see the pink car I ran in Eldon? And then the one I took to fucking Pleasant
You
Hill
mean the
and
pink
shit?
car in Eldon that I announced?
Mm-hmm.
No, that was the white car. That was the white car.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it was basically the same. Well, my color coordinator and shit, my daughter. Yeah, no, she had a hand in that one. But, dude, I cut that car apart. 7 derbies I drove that car in. I drove that motherfucker a quarter mile from my shop down the hill all the way to my house and started cutting the front bumper off of it and pulling the fucking motor out. And I could have pulled it down and took it somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
After I ran Pleasant Hill. Not to mention California, 5 lucky 7 shows. And the crazy thing is after I got to studying that car, dude, the fucking frame rails underneath that car were bowed out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't even know how to explain it. I wish I had pictures. Because it was unreal. Everything that car had been through, the ass end shots that son of a bitch took at P Hill, like, oh, it was just crazy. And to see them frame rails starting to push out towards the body, like, you know you got to have something right in that son of a bitch. Because the whole body is starting to eat itself towards the ground. Not just the rails, not just the body. The whole
See, that's
fucking,
the frame rails they need to build submarines out of.
They're still looking for them.
Look,
They're still looking for them.
but don't try to help Joe any more out in his qualm to get to the bottom of the fucking ocean, bud.
But that, like the
Unicorn, best said. Yep.
the unicorn. So what you've got, you've got Daniel who likes to weld,
Right.
who has no qualms about
Yep.
coming out and throwing down beads and rolling on with it. Where you get, is not a actual builder driver. Now he can take that other set of eyes, manipulate those rules
Yeah.
to where you're seeing the bringing, I'm not going to say gray areas to light, but bringing a different admiration from the rules
Right,
of
and
what
I-
I can do.
And after we put him in this car, I want to see if his opinions change. You know what I'm saying?
Correct. Because he might go out in third hit and he's like, well, oh, fuck this. I watch this bumper go sky the fuck high.
Wait a minute.
What do I got to do? He is not. Now I got to figure out why it did it and what I can do within those rules to make it not do it again.
Right.
We've had guys, hey, find me an 03 frame. Okay. Find him an 03 frame. Go out and just junk that motherfucker. Well, why did it junk? You got to
drawing board.
You got to drive them different. What do you mean? You got to drive them different. The certain things happen certain ways for a reason. You were just on the unlucky end of that.
Well, and that's why I still haven't got in one. We've talked about it. I fucking load the passenger rail.
Yep.
You watched it at Madison.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's some kind of fucking middle block where I'm scared to death I'm going to load the driver's side, so I overcompensate and end up hitting with the fucking passenger side. I do it every fucking time. So instead of whenever you get 6 plates, I'm going to quit putting 3 and 3. I'm going to put 4 and 2. 4 and 2.
And then your brain is going to say, hold on, I've got more over there. I'm going to lead that, and then you're going to catch yourself overcompensating again, and now bringing it back to the middle or to the driver's side. And that's what people sit there, man, that fucking thing is cheated. It's this, it's that.
Well, I heard about my car, and I'm like, fuck you.
Oh, no, dude. Did you see me over there with the cardboard sign? Fucking cheated.
That Mopar's fucking cheated.
They were like, they don't hold up like that. I'm like, I know.
Dude, Bay Miller made me set it down beside the announcer's table. He's like, no, that's my boy.
Yeah, look at me now. I'm matching you.
I was like, I know, that's what's cool about it. Like, it didn't be.
Yeah.
Back whenever they had the 4x6 quarter-inch plate rule, and they allowed 16 plates, and
some more in our show. Yeah.
So, dude, I showed up to a couple different shows with 100 hold on.
100 inches of plate.
120 inches total on the front end. Okay. All right, 120 inches total, 60 per side.
Grab the crown.
You know what I mean? And that's including a 14-inch bumper bracket. No frame seam welding. No extra. No bullshit.
Well, see, that's the crazy part about a Mopar. You can't get 60 inches of plate on the front of it.
No.
Dude, you know what
that would be inside and outside.
But there's a lot more you can do at once.
No, that's what I mean. Like, do you know what I had to do to get 60 inches on each fucking rail?
It's a lot.
Like, dude, I had 30 pounds of welding wire and welding these goddamn plates on. You know what I mean? And, don't get me wrong, the bitch was hard.
Right.
But at the same time, when you meet something just as hard as your shit,
the driver takes it at that point.
Yeah, pretty much.
When you both bend, you're
dude,
both
when you hit an
right.
old iron with the same plating that you have on your new style, and their shit goes as high as your shit, but yet you don't have steering in the new style, that's almost a win by itself.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then it's down to you to wheel the car, but if they give it to you, why not use it?
Right.
It's your own fault if you don't want to put the wire in.
And that's what
it's your own
we
fault.
had a couple guys that were down there
into
at the shop whenever we were fixing that Mopar for Madison, and they were like, well, you don't need 6 plates. I'm like, fuck you. They're giving me 6 plates. I'm going to put them on.
Find a place.
Yeah. It's like, I'll weld the motherfucker on my door handle.
Dude, there's real estate everywhere.
I'm using these fucking plates.
Right.
Yeah, driver safety.
Yeah.
No, it's only 7 plates on that Sunday.
That's what people don't realize. Roughly, I'm not sure about your little Mopars, but if it's got 112 inches of wheelbase, there's a lot of fucking places that you can put it. And that's not counting the 24 inches in front of the center of that spindle to forward, so.
Yeah, but, man, where do you
stop?
Well, yeah, but where do you draw the line? Because you want it to move somewhere. Because if not, it's going to do something fucking retarded somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So once you get it critiqued here, you're going to fucking have an issue here.
Well, that's what Daniel...
And it's unforeseen.
That's where we seen Daniel's lack of the derby world come in whenever we were out there. He's like, what are we doing in front of the A-arm? I'm like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Let it do whatever it wants.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a fuck.
Right.
He's like, we got to stop it at the firewall. That's where we got to stop it. I was like, that motherfucker can go sky high. We'll pull the cocksucker back down. I was like, I don't care if the bumper's touching the fucking headers.
Right.
I want it to stay off the fucking ground.
100%. Can't go anywhere if you
100%. Because I know I'm going to
you're
lose
dragging the
steering.
ground, bud.
You lose steering, you're
British.
all fucked up.
Right.
Well, that's a whole nother cup of tea. You start trying to wheel a car without steering. No, that's where you're gonna. That's where
And
you're gonna
there's
see
guys
your
out there that
drivers.
I have watched Derby and didn't know that they didn't have steering until it come down to the end of that motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
And that's whenever you know you're a fucking driver.
Yeah.
Or you've seen them wheel that bitch with no steering from damn near the beginning
No, that's what I'm talking
till the
about.
very fucking
That's what I'm
end.
saying.
Like,
You know?
he didn't.
And then I go
he
back
didn't have any steering.
and go back to the pit stop. They're like, oh fuck, I lost that third hit. I'm like, what?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh bud. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's go into a little bit of this local shit that went on over the weekend.
It's
And
all
then-
there.
All right,
What?
boys. I gotta get out of here. Hate to be a party pooper, but man, it's been fun. But
He's gonna
all
go.
right, I gotta get out of here.
He's gonna go do some.
White Doug shit. That and write a check. Big
Well,
one.
we did start at like 10:30 this morning,
for
Yeah.
that.
and he did come in with beers in hand.
Yeah, no, it's 1 o'clock. I'm tabbed out. What do I owe you guys?
One pee-pee touch.
Bay Miller, be good, brother. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having me, bud.
Thank you guys
Thank y'all for coming
Steven, be
out.
good.
for coming and hanging.
Billy boy.
Weld him up right.
We'll get down to you.
Yeah.
We'll get down to
Set
you.
it up.
But, you want to talk about T-Bone?
We had T-Bone last weekend.
Yeah, you want to talk about a little bit of that?
T-Bone last weekend, which you have not ever got to go up there. Steve Turlow, he's the owner of Lunatic Promotions. Usually the T-Bone is super hard cars, team show setting. You know, full tilt, mod, full cradle, compacts. Full tilt, mod, hard shit. He actually brought it, and always their stuff is usually two-man stuff. Steve actually did a full-size 80s and newer in the two-man teams. When you got, first place for those heats was Nathan Arnold and Josh Knurr. My Mr. Bean, Spencer Harrington, and Dusty Wintermonte run second. A to Z's very own Andrew Johannes and Jeremy Atchison run third. Nathan Drummond and Hunter Harris, it looks like they tied. The Lunatic went to Nathan Drummond. Full-size mods were single classes. Tommy Gomat won it. Tyler Klaus run second, and Richard Gomat run third with the Lunatic going to Dylan Kunkel. I know Dylan had his leftover from Blizzard Bash. Mr. Pudwitter brought his leftover from Blizzard Bash as well. So I'm sure Dylan drove it the way Dylan drives it.
What's that? That show's been known for a place to finish off your bash car.
Oh yeah. But first and third were Gomats. So did Richard have something left from Blizzard Bash, or was that something that he
Pulled out of the weeds.
or he ran that wagon that you adored so much at Border Wars? Did he do some loving and pull a motor and put a full cradle in it and all that good shit? And then, Tyler Klaus, I'm sure Tyler was probably in a 03. Tyler likes the 03 life up there. And then you had some full-size limited wheel guys. David Tim won it. Austin McDermott was second, and Carson Stogel was third. And wasn't that the class where Mr. Levi decided he would kick back in the recliner on a loader tire?
I wasn't even going to bring it up again.
Yeah. And then we had the compact limited wheel teams. Tyler Ford, he always runs good up there. He usually runs real good at Blizzard Bash as well. Tyler Ford and John Smith won it. Ben Smith and Zach Smith run second, and then Zach McSparron and Chris Seavey run third, and the Lunatic was Tyler Ford. That's pretty much Tyler shit. I mean, he's wide open up there. Then the normal mod compacts, not very unfamiliar names here. Kevin Ullman won it. Trevor Mulder
Surprise.
Trevor Mulder run second, and Caleb Perkins run third. Justin Wynn got the Lunatic. The Gut and Go compacts. So some of these guys were actually pulling double duty because Andrew Johannes won it, Dan Honard second, and Jake Flatter was third. And then, Steve brought out some minivans. Bryce Wilkinson won it, Aaron Tucker second, Mike Wilkinson third, Travis Schulte was the lunatic. So and we saw it. We've got Henry and Tyler on Snapchat. Henry and Tyler Ray, both of them I think pulled double duty yesterday. Yeah. In the street stock, and I think they either one of them maybe put one of them MWFA cars. What they call the gut and go big cars. Right. And I think they cashed them. They cashed some checks.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of sticks still up.
Yeah, sticks still up. That was that's the coverage from the lunatic. So we'll move on. Richland was last night as well for the Lucky Sevens guys. We just hit off on Henry and Tyler. Salisbury was last night as well. We don't have a full tilt car count. We know there was 14 stocks, or hot stocks is what they call them. Congrats to South Dude, Cody Hendren. He run his first Cadillac last night. Snapchat I got this morning, normal caddy stuff. It came up with certain ways and kind of found a home. Right. I would say.
Looked like Kelsey took the wagon again.
That sumbitch just got to be almost done, don't it?
Fuck, I don't know. The ass end's getting right.
Yeah, he was plinking off some suspension the other night too. So. But congrats to those guys. We're not sure of a car count. I know at roughly 6:15, they had 30 cars. Snapchats and videos that I saw, if they had 14 big cars, it looked like they probably had 15 to 20 gut and goes. Compacts.
It looked like there was quite a few compacts there.
I think Concrete Doors himself again pulled out another win. Mr. Tyler Pickens, that car's got to be almost done because it's.
I say that every fucking show.
I know that fucker's rough looking. I'll put it that way. But damn it, man! We had Griggsville last night too. What do they call it? Bird City Bull Ring.
Yeah.
And I think the outcome was almost the same in their stock class as it was at Pleasant Hill.
Yep.
Looks like Damon Miller won that one, and
they got some rain.
They got some fucking rain. Rain that we didn't get.
Ask Daniel about Griggsville. He's been there before.
That's a good time. Drink a lot of beer.
I went this spring. Their first show over there. That's the first time I'd ever been to Griggsville.
And tried to buy a fucking 7-foot tall corn cob at an auction. Drunk at a motherfucker. We were in my Denali Yukon and was like, how the fuck are we going to get that home if we get it bought?
Strap that bitch to the roof.
And we were going to.
Yeah, but it looks like Damon Miller won it just like at P Hill. And then looks like Mr. Wheelman Jaden Hebner pulled off the second. That a lot of people are complaining. I'm gonna hit it. Their street stock or their super stocks haven't been plentiful as they were last year. But how many times have we said this? Everybody is building to big shit. Now you have a street stock or a super stock class team setting at Blizzard Bash. You have the Gold Rush Nationals for your individual street stock final. So everybody, when you go to Pleasant Hill or you go to Griggsville, you're expecting Allen, Cody, and Dalen Brown. The list, PJ, the list goes on and on. So when you start throwing all these places that have these derbies in that we have talked about so much, you can literally go to a derby every fucking week, 1 or 2 derbies a week
that are close to them.
That are close.
And we talk to these, and we've had people approach us. Well, how the fuck did y'all have all these street stock cars? Nobody was doing it. Nobody was fucking doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's that simple.
And now everybody's doing it.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that anybody was copycatting anything. It was fucking smart.
Correct.
Everybody seen where the cars were.
Yeah.
Do that.
Yep. And then
It's not like we have patent pending on that shit.
you get social media where
Because we ripped it off somebody else.
oh yeah, and then you get social media. You know, you're allowing mod cars. We understand there's 50 of them fuckers in the weeds somewhere. We know that. But when you're only paying $1,500 to win for that class, that makes it a lot harder for guys to. Man, do I really want to pull this fucker out? Do I really want to put another motor and training in it or a rear
Do I
end
want to put a full cradle on my motor?
for
Because
$1,500?
that's not an easy feat.
No, they suck balls.
And I don't give a fuck if you've got a ski cradle. I don't give a fuck what you got. Now, the old school big rocks and shit, you definitely don't want to start that project.
Yeah, because you had to drill and tap every hole to switch it from one motor to the other.
Yeah.
You know, so everybody's saying, man, wow, how the mod cars are not pulling any numbers. What we have? Spring X, I think we had 10 sign up, only 6 pulled out on the track. And they're all buddies. Same way with T-Bone. You know, you go to T-Bone, you know, back when I used to go all the time, you had Dylan Kunkel and Kyle Pudwitter, and you had C.J. Barnes and Denton Bixel, and you had Fat and Cochran. And then you had Mopar Express guys, you know, Jeremy Atchison, Jamie McKim, Tyler Klaus, the Go-Mats. All of them guys are
know each other.
close.
I mean, and nobody wants to go beat on their friends.
No.
Especially if you're building out the same fucking shop.
And especially if you're only making $1,500 if you win that bitch.
Well, if I've got 70 hours in your fucking car, Daniel's got 70 hours in my car, and we've all worked on each other's shit, and then we've got to go out there and beat the fuck that.
Yeah. So, you know,
I mean, that'd be like going to work if you were a mechanic and tearing shit up.
just
so
to
you
fix
gotta
it.
Fix it. Fuck that.
Yeah, that's, you know, so, and we've talked. Shit comes in spurts. You know, now everybody is having the hobo stock cars, and they're having a good turnout. Where all of them are complaining,
I'm
man, I'm
telling
only
you,
getting 1 or 2 runs out of these things.
My favorite class, as far as a promoter, was the stock class, and I'll put that in quotations, that we had and several others around us had. It allowed you to run a car multiple times, and you were in that midpoint of a street stock and a hobo.
Mm-hmm.
But you could run it that first time with 2 plates on it and bring it home, pull it down, put another couple plates on it, or
Yeah.
put all your plates on it and run it, and then come home and pull it down again and run it again. I mean, it worked.
Yeah.
I mean, we had people that were showing up to 4 or 5 of our shows a year and running the same fucking car with results.
Yep. Yeah, I just wish more people would kind of take that into consideration.
No,
The hobo
hobos are
car-
too scary.
The hobo cars, just give them just a little bit more. Just a little bit.
Yeah, because the hobo class that everybody's pushing right now is not really a hobo class.
No. No.
Whenever you start letting them fuck with body bolts and plates, you're not a bone stock class.
No. You know,
I mean, whenever you got LSs with 4L60s in them, that's not a stock class anymore, because those guys are they're tying them in. I don't give a fuck what anybody says they're tying them in.
they might still have that factory rear end or whatever of 273 gears or whatever. So
Yeah,
that means
but-
they're going to
yeah,
be
but-
fucking running 50 when they hit me
Yes.
instead of 30.
Right. And, I mean, you take the LS, they're laying them on the fucking firewall.
Mhm.
I don't blame them.
That's that interpretation of rules.
You don't have a distributor back there to worry about.
Right.
Correct. I know guys that are going to the LS just for that simple fact. They don't fucking like them.
Right.
They're not familiar with them, but they're willing to relocate them coil packs. They're willing to get that ECM tunable,
Yeah.
you know, with wiring harnesses and whatnot, just for that simple fact. So when it fucking bends, it ties that back of that bitch right into that
stops.
firewall, and it's not moving. Are you drunk?
No, I don't.
just knocking shit over.
I guess.
But that's that rule interpretation. And that's not a gray area. That's nothing. That's just, okay, what the fuck can I do to make this thing harder with inside the rules without adding extra plates, welding wire seams, cross members,
because
whatever.
I was talking about us being in the shop working on my car. It wasn't like we were sitting in there welding on a thing the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we'd step back, get a beer, talk about this, look at that, you know, and it's like you said for the hobo class, because I had honestly, that was my first intentions. I was going to run the hobo class. I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I would have junked a car.
Yep.
That honestly didn't need to be
Junked
yet. I mean, because I'm going to get 3 runs out of this car, at least one respectable. I don't know how Shelbine will turn out, but one respectable run out of it. I got pushed on the dirt at whiskey, but like in a hobo setting, like if they would have had the hobo class up there and I would have run it, it would have been done. I would have jumped the motherfucker right there.
Oh, yeah.
Because it would have been stood sky high, and everybody knows pulling a subframe car down, it doesn't work.
No. That's when
They rip.
You just put a new fucking sub under it.
Or you throw it away.
Or you junk it.
Right.
You know, so it worked last year. Everything worked last year. There wasn't a bad show that we went to last year or watched on pay-per-view or watched on $3.99.
Right there sparked the fucking bandwagon of everybody being like, I can put on a show.
Mm-hmm.
Cars will show up. Well, they're fucking learning that they won't. They're getting 40 car shows out of it.
Yep. Or 31 or
45 or whatever.
Yeah.
But that whole day of the 100 car derby.
They're there, but they're few and far between. I mean, even last year with Austin stuff over on the Illinois side when he was just doing the P Hill, not even the Griggsville and the Springfield, Illinois that he's having this year. They still showed up, but then September was the Holy Grail.
Right.
You know, he still has September's Holy Grail that is paying fucking stupid.
And there'll still be cars there.
There will be a lot of cars there. But that's still enough time from that first full week and weekend of September to Gold Rush, to Blizzard Bash.
Well, people are going to be, they're like, hey, let's get rid of this shit.
Yes.
Before big show time.
Yes.
Like, let's fucking junk it. Let's get our shit pulled out of it. Let's get the motherfucker scrapped so we can get our power plants, our rear ends, all that bullshit. Because you got a lot of guys that'll have a shell built in the shop ready for the bolting stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, all they got to do is pull a rear end, pull a motor transmission, all their pedals and switch boxes or whatnot, and then you get those guys who have multiple motors, transmissions already set up, multiple switch boxes, multiple pedals.
I mean,
you are not that
guys,
motherfucker.
Right. Well, I mean, I've got multiple shit, but it's all junk.
You don't have 2 Colliers sitting there. You don't have 2 GHE
I don't have
transmissions.
one Collier sitting there.
Broke-ass white boy problems.
Hashtag true.
But we've said it so many times. We don't want anybody to fail, especially on the derby side, or the promotion side, or the driver side.
Because we don't want the sport to die.
Correct. Well, we're not going to go back into that.
I thought we were supposed to go camping this year. I ain't been camping not one fucking time.
Well, we did say camping and fishing. I haven't fished yet. We haven't bought campers yet.
I'm still fucking derby.
I'm still fucking announcing. And now we're, still so busy it's not even fucking funny. It's just a different type
And I'm
of
still
busy.
sick of it.
I haven't told anybody to go get fucked yet this year.
I haven't either, and I've been in the tech line a couple times.
Well, that's the thing. When you do promote and you are in that tech line and you bring your car in as a driver / builder, you know the respect factor. You know what's happening on the other side of that line, of that person telling you what to cut, what needs to be done for that token, so you can not lose your shit.
Yeah, but you know how much more relaxed I was? Because Daniel went up to tech with me, and I was sitting there like, dude, I didn't have to fucking worry about some dude arguing with me over why I wanted him to cut something or some of that shit. Like, it was so nice being in the driver's seat because I pulled up on the fucking left. I got out. They asked me a few questions. I explained why I did what I did. They took it into consideration. They went and got in their little huddle. They talked about it. They come back. That's fine. Give him a stick, drive off. Well, I didn't have to fuck with anything else after that.
Yep.
Instead, I was waiting on the other fucking 30 cars that were coming through. Like, what's this motherfucker going to argue with me about?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, you know, you got through it. Like I told you last week, I was really impressed on
I had a good fucking time.
that little shit box you've got.
I had a good fucking time.
But here's what I'm going to say. If nothing happens stupid, that bitch better be garbage at Shelbina.
I'm going to try.
I told you the easiest way to do it. Pull in, back into a corner.
I tried at Madison. They made me straighten up.
They didn't make Trey straighten up.
No, but you see me? I backed in at a fucking angle. At the corner, I was like, fuck it. Everybody else has been doing it. I want to do it.
Yep.
Because I was going to let Trey cross me, and I was going to take off the other edge.
Correct. Yep. Just a little flyby.
Yeah.
But, you know.
They were like, no. Straighten up. I'm like,
No.
transmission's out.
I have no reverse. Trey, push me back up in here. Push me in here. You know, but we still got some cool shit. Really.
Yeah.
I think we're going to maybe have a little family time.
Yeah, here the next couple weeks, I think you and I talked about it a little bit. We're going to focus more on the guests we've got coming in.
Yep.
Got to back off on the show stuff. And we're going to talk to some people.
Promoters, drivers.
Yeah.
Not just from this area either.
No.
We are still going to have to make a trip to Illinois
Right.
so he can kick you in the ding ding.
I don't want to do that.
What, take the ding ding
I
shot?
don't want to get kicked in the dick. I don't like
It
it.
was because you were sick. He did tell me that.
Right.
He said, well, he just needs kicked in the dick. So I gave you fair warning that that is a possibility of it happening. You know, but we've had a pretty full day already.
Yeah.
Want to thank the old buds for sitting in with us.
Them goofy fuckers.
They are some goofy fuckers. I will say that. But they're true goofy fuckers. They're not.
They own that shit.
Yeah, they're not acting. They are just fucking not right. We'd like to thank Daniel for coming out,
Yeah.
coming over, give us.
I told him I was going to do that because I wanted to grab a little bit on his perspective on that shit. And then we'll get him back on here after Shelvina just to see. He'll be like, fuck this.
He's like, fuck this, I'm sticking to Weldon.
That was fucking stupid.
And it's one of them.
He's like 6 inches shorter than me, so whenever we go to fix this car, we're going to have to.
You're going to either have to move some pedals back or move a seat forward.
Yeah.
But in that same token, his head might not be at the fucking B pillar.
True that.
It might be in the
Yeah,
actual
we probably
correct
put that fucking
location.
pillow on a B pillar for him.
Or the A pillar.
True that.
So, Daniel, appreciate you, man, sitting in with us,
Thanks for having me.
giving that welding perspective. We've got some shit coming up, fellas. We've got some news that we'll break down later in the summer. A killer ass opportunity that we're gonna get to take part of. So we're pretty much as jazzed as everybody else going to that show.
100 fucking.
You know, to run. So I didn't tell you, but I've got a little text message here. So Daniel, appreciate you, man. Hook bag, I know you got to go get to barbecuing.
Yeah.
Any last words?
Nope.
Make junk, boys.